How do you want me to introduce you?
Do you mean my name?
No, I know your name.
No, because some people would say Sam, not Samantha.
I'm totally keeping that in, by the way.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh my God, title.
Okay, I have just changed my name actually
Okay,
to, yeah, so the Bold Business Coach.
love it. Okay, awesome. Fabulous. So we are here today with the amazing Samantha Hearn, the Bold Business Coach. She is the go-to coach for women who want to transform themselves and their businesses. And I'm super excited for you to be here, Sam, so welcome.
Thanks, I'm excited to be here.
So I created this Unstoppable Success series really to help everyone that's watching and listening to understand a little bit more about your journey, to hear it from the horse's mouth, what it is that goes on behind a business, because I feel that so many times people see you showing up on social and they see us doing our stories or they see us posting things, and it only really gives one layer and one element or one perception of what it's like to run a business. So I'd love to know, how long have you actually been a coach for?
It's near coming up 3 years now, nearly. 3 years, April 2020.
Awesome, congratulations. And what was your background before that? So how did you actually end up being here?
So I did a 4-year teaching and education degree, and I then did 10 years in secondary school teaching. And I was heavily involved in the pastoral side of teaching. So I was a head of year for 7 years of the 10, so in charge of children's well-being. I worked in a secondary school, so all the way up to 18, anxiety, mental health, relationship breakdowns, divorce. And I got to a point through my own journey and the experience I had as a teacher where I just didn't feel like I was making a big enough impact in this one school with this one demographic of teenager. I knew I could do this on a bigger scale, and I knew I could do it for adults that had spent the whole of their teenage years feeling how I used to feel, but hadn't and didn't know what to do to become a happier adult. So that's kind of my background and why I wanted to start creating something for myself, creating some freedom that I could help more people rather than just this tiny little school community that I was in.
Tiny little community, but such powerful work. You're amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And there was two.
You don't even look, you're old enough to have done 10 years. That's awesome. Tell me, like, what did you learn from that? Like, how did that really feed into what you do today?
I think through everything I had been through as a child, to then all I wanted to do was serve. School was such an important place for me. My teachers were so amazing, and that was my biggest passion. I wanted children to know that they mattered. I really wanted them to know that they were important, and whatever their situation was, they could come out stronger. And I think that, you know, where I grew up was quite similar to like Newcastle. You know, people weren't affluent, they weren't successful. There was this kind of like tribe of the mentality of what everybody did. I didn't go to a great school, and I just knew the impact that your childhood had on creating your future and how stuck you could become. And then when I did become a teacher, I saw that firsthand, but I also saw the parents, the damage that they had been through, the experiences that they'd had, and how it really was trickling down into their children. So I think some of my biggest takeaways in teaching were nothing to do with, you know, educating the next generation. It was all about the care that they needed and the neutral person to say that it doesn't have to stay this way. And of course, then you can transfer that into being an entrepreneur. So many entrepreneurs start a business and it maybe doesn't become successful straight away, and that's the mindset they get stuck in. The same as if your parents get divorced, you think that everyone gets divorced. You know, it's so transferable. So patterns of behavior were a big thing that I learned, and how so much damage can be taught at such a young age that we then hold on to.
Amazing. Really, really amazing point. I mean, we've seen women that have come to work with us in the Unstoppable Success Accelerator, or women who, like, whether they're like in the first kind of decision making stage and they're in that place, or they're like, Nick, this is do or die, like I've got to this place where nothing's working and I want to quit. We've also had women who are in the program who have created a certain level of success. I've just actually written a post about this. Created a certain level of success, and then they panic and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go back to a job, I'm going to quit, I can't do this, Nick. And I'm literally like, this is the time where you have the opportunity to completely transform your life, because they say that it's always darkest before the dawn, and then something amazing happens. So I'm totally with you on that. And I love seeing how people can overcome their like old patterns and their old ways of thinking to do something different. And I bet you were that teacher. So in the first like pages of my book, I say thank you to my English teacher, Mr. Fleck, because he was the person that got me over my fear of public speaking. I bet you were that teacher for many, many, many kids. So amazing background. You've obviously created a ton of success. Yeah, I bet you were. You've created such awesome success. Like, I love how you show up for your community. You are a total powerhouse. You're a total badass. You've got such an amazing attitude. And you just support so many people. Like, you really do shine. And I know that this is what you love and what you're meant to be doing. Can you tell me like a little bit about what's the biggest successes that you've created? We've obviously been working together for months and months and months now. And I've just seen you go from one success to another. What would you say is your like favorite pieces of that success, and what would you attribute that success to?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. That is such a good question. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and say that for me, the biggest successes I've had in business are the hurdles that I didn't think I could jump over, and I did, and came out the other side. For example, when I first started coaching, I was charging £99. When I then changed to charging, when I then charged £1,500, that was like a massive breakthrough. Mm-hmm. Then when I charged £3,000, then now 15,000, whatever. It's not about the number, it's about that internal shift. And also even things like dealing with my first negative comment, or dealing with my first challenges in business where clients aren't the right fit when you first start, and you don't know as much as you do once you've been doing this a while. Being able to show up live on my Facebook page rather than in my group because I wasn't scared anymore. So many of my biggest successes, aside from, winning awards, having a best-selling book, making loads of money, being on stages all over the world, the big things for me as an individual really are the times that I've sat there and thought, should I do this? And I've done it and it's paid off. They're the big successes for me, because that's why I'm where I am, because I didn't listen to that little voice that said, don't do it. I did it anyway. So when you then say what attributed to getting to this point, I was really competitive as a child, but not in the healthiest of ways. I think because like my dad died when I was really young, unexpectedly. My mum moved to another country again when I was really young. I had this real fierce, I have to do it all on my own. Really, by the time I was 21, I was this sort of fearless girl. I wanted to graduate first in my class. I did. I was very ego driven, but not in an ego way, in a safety way. I had to be the best so people would like me. And I think the best of that quality has come into business with me, that I have been, nothing will ever be as bad as the experiences I had as a child. So why can I not go live on my Facebook page? Like, I just bring it back to reality. And I think for me, the one thing I always think, and if you are listening to this, I want this to be your one thing. This is the biggest thing. If I ever have those days where I think, because obviously we're human, maybe it's not for me, maybe I should just keep it simple, I shouldn't grow, all of those doubts, maybe I shouldn't raise my prices, maybe I shouldn't do a live, all of those things, I think if I don't do it, someone else 100% will. And I don't ever want to look at someone and think I could have done that, but I stopped myself.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
That's so huge. And I bet so many people resonate with that. On the 2 points, so on the point of like needing to have external validation or an external motivator to understand that you are actually achieving and accomplishing things and that you are good, that's definitely something that I've noticed that I've had in my life growing up as well. And then also this like a key motivation hack that you've just shared with us, so thank you for that, reminding yourself of actually like, when was something really hard that I've managed to get through, and how easy is this thing that I'm putting off right now that I should be doing, and how many people can I help because of it? So powerful, so powerful. So thank you. What would you say is the biggest thing that stopped you? So you've really shared there, like the being bold and these big risk-taking things, or the mindset shift around that and getting out of your comfort zone is the thing that has got you through the hard times. But what would you say, because obviously like this is unstoppable success, so I'm fascinated by what it is that commonly stops people and what it truly takes to become unstoppable. So what is the thing that has stopped you before?
Judgment. 100% judgment. That was, I think, and I've, you know, even now I'm constantly going through transitions as an entrepreneur, but old me was so worried about fitting in, people pleasing, acceptance, having friends, saying yes to everything, doing everything, being seen, not missing out, not being forgotten. I had this real insecurity around acceptance. And of course, you know, I really struggled with abandonment issues. You know, it was a real tug at the heartstrings. If someone didn't invite me somewhere, I instantly thought I was a bad person. So old me, of course, when I first started my business, I was still teaching full time. I didn't really know what I was doing because, of course, how do you know what's to come 3 years down the road? I started an Instagram account and I was petrified. What if my kids at school find it and absolutely take the mick, because I do work with teenagers? What if my family find out and think, why are you doing that? You've got a great job, you're changing the world, you've got a stable income, you've got a pension, you've got good holidays, this like really secure life. Yeah, it did really. So I didn't tell anyone. I started an Instagram account, and I didn't use my Facebook business page for the first 18 months.
Wow.
I only used my group. So my group grew massively. You know, it had great organic growth. I was in there all the time. It was amazing for engagement. But on a bigger scale, no one else could find me because I only showed up in the places that I knew I was safe. So yeah, judgment was a really big source of contention for me. How do I overcome that? And also, even now, sometimes I worry about talking about how successful I've become because of the judgment from the people I knew when I was, 15 at school. You know, it's not something that doesn't play on my mind, but it doesn't affect me in the same way it did at the beginning. It doesn't stop me taking action. But that would instantly, as soon as you said that, judgment is the big, bold, flashing lights. That's my thing. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. And it's interesting because there's this big theme of safety that's coming through this conversation, like feeling safe and feeling like you had a place because you were an achiever. But then also on the flip side of that, keeping yourself safe and making sure that you are like not like being bold in terms of like getting visible for the first part of your journey, but then also transforming that so that you have been able to create that success. I know how many people struggle with this as entrepreneurs, and especially as female entrepreneurs. Like, we're so bothered about what other people think. And I definitely think that getting visible and having that sense of encouragement and that knowingness that like people who are watching can see how far you've come because of those choices that you've made and because you decided to get out there. Amazing. So one last tip. What would you suggest for anyone that wants to create unstoppable success within themselves and within their business? What would be one hack or one tip that you can share with them to do that?
I think the biggest thing that I would tell anyone is you will not know the outcome until you try. So there's no guarantee that anything will be a massive success or go viral or trend or everyone will love it. There's no guarantee. You're not in an industry that has guaranteed success, but you are in an industry that is constantly evolving and constantly growing. So unless you are willing to try, you will never know what it is that you're so scared could happen, because the very worst outcome is very rarely what happens in reality. So my one big hack would always be, always take action first, analyze, worry, think, all of that stuff after, because you have no idea until you take action what the outcome is going to be. And if it doesn't go as well as you thought, try something else. The iPhone that we hold now is not the huge, massive iPod that existed when they first released their products. That's not where we were. Virgin Jets didn't start off there. It was a record shop. So you can never evolve to this great end result unless you're willing to make mistakes. You have to try. You have to try. That'd be my big thing.
Thank you so much. And actually, like one of my personal greatest fears is getting to the end of life and having people say about me, she had so much potential and she didn't do anything with it. So this is your opportunity to take the invitation from Sam, to be bold, to get out of your comfort zone and to take action before you are ready. Thank you so much, Samantha.